we are resolving 5/7 chords, there are two ways to do it. First way is to omit the fifth. So we leave out the fifth, we make it an incomplete chord. Or the second way, which is kind of the newer way, is to frustrate the leading tone. So I'm going to show you both of those. Let's see. Very first one, here's my treble and my bass. We are going to do C major. So the way I'm writing this out for practice is a 5/7 to 1. That means in C major, the 5 is going to be a G chord, right? Fifth is the G. So we're going to have a G, a B, a D, and an F natural, and then the 1 chord is going to be just a 1 C, E, G. I'm going to write this out so we can practice leaving out the fifth. So since they are both in root position, I'm going to do my G here, my C here, and do a B, F, and a B on top as well. Okay. Let's see. I guess I'm gonna put a D up there as well. Okay. Oops. So now when we're trying to resolve this to the 1 chord, we know that we at least need to have an E because that determines the quality. So somewhere I need to put an E. But first things first, I'm going to look at how I need to resolve my 5/7. So I know that my F natural, my 7, needs to go down a half step. So that kind of solves both my problems. My F natural is going to go down to an E. So now I do have the third, I do have the tonic in my C, my 1 chord, and the 7th is resolved correctly. Now it is totally up to me if I want to make this a complete chord or if I don't want to make it a complete chord. I'm also going to do is make sure that not only the 7th resolves correctly, but that the leading tone resolves correctly. So the B I'm going to bring up to a C. Now this is kind of my choice if I want to put a G here and do a complete chord, but it would make a little more sense to just omit the 5th and make it incomplete, because then my D is not going to be doing a ginormous jump down to the G. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a C here. So now I am ending with a perfect authentic cadence, 5/1, and it is capped with that C on top with root position. So just a little extra perfect authentic cadence. But that is what it's like omitting the 5th. So we did not do a G here, and it's an incomplete chord, but it's still resolved correctly and fine. Next up is the newer method where we frustrate the leading tone. I'm going to use the same ones as before. So here's my G, my B, my F, and my D. Okay, so we're given the chords this way. Now we need to resolve the one on our own. Now, to frustrate the leading tone, that means that my B is going to have to jump to G. So in this key, G is the 5th, and B is my leading tone. So this B is going to go to the 5th of the chord down here. Orally, it sounds nice. It works out well. So that's why it's an option. And my leading tone's been resolved. Now my 7th chord, I'm going to resolve it correctly as well, just as before, going down to an E. And then just for voicing and for a nice perfect authentic cadence, I'm going to put my C right on top. So in this case, I have used all the notes of the chord. So if you really want to have a complete chord, which is this one, you have the option of frustrating the leading tone. By doing this, by frustrating the leading tone and bringing that leading tone to the 5th, we do have a 5th. Or if we prefer to resolve the leading tone up that half step, then we can do an incomplete chord. Both are totally acceptable and totally up to you, but these are just the two ways that you can resolve these two chords without worrying about parallel fifths, parallel octaves, and making them sound really nice.